Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, it's 10:30, and here we are again. I feel like it's like 5 minutes since I sat here and was talking to you last night. So I hope you all had a good sleep and a good morning so far. Yeah, cloudy, weather report. You always need a weather report, don't you? It's a bit grim. It's apparently going to rain and rain tomorrow as well, but it's okay at the moment. So as you're joining, say hello. If you're watching this, and it's 6 months' time, because all these are staying, all these are in the group forever. So it could be that you're watching this and it's like Christmas. I don't know. If you are, happy Christmas, random. So today we are inspired by a discussion we had during, I think it was day 1 of the Star Challenge. So let's just summarise where we got to with that. So the Star Challenge covered four different topics. We covered strategies and tools on the first day of being able to grow your business. We covered actions on the second day, on Tuesday. And then last night, we smashed through the results and how to get the results, how to really focus on finding your clients, making that connection, and then drawing them to you so they're ready to buy from you, work with you. So it was jam-packed. I managed to keep it to an hour on every one, which is fabulous because I think the last challenge one night was an hour and a half, which is quite exhausting. And what sparked the debate and the inspiration for today was around being able to attract the clients that you want to, but without obviously having a massive budget to spend on advertising, because that becomes a sort of self-perpetuating issue in your mind quite quickly if you don't feel as though you're getting your message out to the world, and therefore you're not earning, and therefore how do you get your message out to the world if you don't advertise and you don't get help to take your gift to the world? So hence why today was inspired. So we're going to look at ways to make sure that you can use specifically Facebook. So there are obviously lots of different social media platforms, but today we're just going to focus on Facebook. Now, it did occur to me that I did a masterclass, and I can't remember when it was. It's tagged again in the topics area, a masterclass just on organic marketing. So that was covering a much broader spectrum of the methods that you can use without having any budget. You can use your time instead of using a budget and go and get your message out to the world doing that. So today we're going to just cover Facebook, but if you want to look at other methods as well, go and dig that masterclass out, because it was pretty recent. So it's all very much still relevant, and I think we got to about 20 different ways that you can distribute your message. So, okay, if you're joining, please say hello. Don't sit there quietly. It's much easier to know that I'm talking to people who are actively listening to me. Deborah, good morning. So, Facebook, what has that gifted us? Well, it has gifted us however many billion of users there are on this platform. So I can guarantee you, doesn't matter what you're selling, what you're offering, how you help people, your ideal clients are on Facebook. Like, there is no doubt whatsoever. The trick is about finding them, isn't it? The trick's about digging them out. And oh, you're having problems with the video. Is it? I hope it's not me. When I watched some of the other one back last night, because I was reading it and starting to comment, and it was a bit pixelating, but I always presume that that's my laptop camera, because it's nowhere near as good as the iPad. So if anyone else is seeing a problem with the video, let me know, because we can stop and start again, and sometimes that just kind of kicks it on, but might be your signal. I'll push on until someone tells me I've disappeared. So yeah, Facebook has gifted us a huge volume of people all in one place, but they go and they congregate in different areas, don't they? They'll hang out and gravitate because of a particular interest. Hi Pauline. So where we want to get to as an offerer of a service, so you're offering what you do, you're looking to share your expertise, you're looking to connect and help those people. What you need to do is find out where they are, don't they? So it's like all roads lead back to this subject, by the way. All roads lead to your ideal client and defining your ideal client. So without being really boring, we need to cover it again, because honestly, if we don't have the ideal client in our head really clearly, it's like just kind of jumping into an ocean full of random fish and going, well, I think I might have that one, I think I'll have that one, and you're just going to be overwhelmed with the potential of the people that you could work with. So what you need to do is know who you're looking for, know what you're going into this ocean of Facebook to find. And you can do that on a lot of levels, particularly when you look at the way that there are interest groups sort of popping up. So there'll be an interest for absolutely everything, and therefore there will be a group. But if you don't know what your ideal client is interested in, because you don't know them, you've not really connected with them, then you're not going to know where to go to be able to make that connection. So everything leads back to the ideal client. So let's think about the way that we can profile them and how we can overlay that into the Facebook strategy. So if we know they're male or female, first off, do we know their age? What are they interested in? What do they follow? Who do they gravitate towards? Are they following celebrities? Are they interested in health and fitness? Are they interested in cooking, in sewing, in crafting, in gardening? Pick a couple of subjects that aren't directly connected with your core subject that they also are likely to be interested in. And that way you kind of, rather than just jumping into this ocean, you've got another route round. It's almost like it's like going into a big party, but you've gone round the side entrance and through the back door, rather than knocking on the door and saying, hello, is there any of my ideal clients here? I want to sell to you. If you go in the other way round, then you can just kind of hang out, you can have a look around, you can occasionally do your thing and see whether or not there is any reaction. So when you join a group, then let's go back a stage. So once you've got your ideal client, you know who they are, what their interests are, and you've got that additional stuff around the edge. It's not just the interest that your core person has. It's not just that. You've got the extras. So then you're going to need to get a little bit inventive with literally putting the names in the searches. So are they interested in health? Are they interested in dieting? Are they interested in weight loss? Are they interested in growing their own food? And whatever it is, you're going to have to type it in. That's the only way. Start typing it in and start having a look at the groups. Now, there's going to be loads of groups in some fields, and there's going to be hardly any in others. But the rule of thumb that I normally use is there's got to be at least 1,000 people in that group for you to be able to go in and have a mingle around, and to be enough sort of audience and enough going on. So look at two things. Look at the number of people that are already in the group, and look at the activity levels. So when was the last post in that group? Was it 3 weeks ago? In which case it might be stagnant. It might just not be being maintained at the moment. If there was 45 posts in a day, take a view. If it feels like it's really prime for your group, but there's masses going on in there, so it might feel overwhelming, just go into it for a moment and then decide yourself. It's a trial and error process. I've probably joined hundreds of groups where I've been in for a couple of days, had a little look around, and then gone, this is not for me, this is definitely not for me, and then just come out again. You're not losing anything. You're going in initially to just literally like poke your head in the door, have a quick look around, get a feel for the vibe, how is it run, how is it controlled, and if it's not for you, just come out again. There's just no harm done at all. So search for those groups, find where they are, find where they're hanging out, go into these groups, join them, and join them as yourself. This is quite key. So some groups have rules about you're not allowed to join as a business page or as a business profile. So go in as yourself. Now, that can be a bit of a blocker sometimes for people, and it probably was for me for a while. I didn't like the thought that I was sort of handing over my Facebook profile to being my business profile. It felt previously like it was my social, it was how I kept in touch with people that were long distances away, it's where I share pictures of my kids, and I felt a bit weird about putting my personal profile into some of these groups that I was using for work. Tanya, good morning, lovely. I'll get back to your comment, Deborah. So if you go in as yourself, you have to accept that this is now what you're using your Facebook profile for. So you join the group. We're going to come back to what you're going to do when you join the group. If your profile, your personal profile, is full of like funny cat videos, pictures of your kids, you going out on wild nights out and nothing business related. What's going to happen if you do find an ideal client, you make a comment, you make a suggestion, and someone goes, oh, that's really interesting, I'm just going to go and have a look at a bit more information about them. They click on and then there's like no reference to your business, it's just you kind of hooning around, then they're not going to necessarily keep looking. So when you start this process of using Facebook for business, you're going to have to accept that actually there should be a trail through your social media that says, this is me and this is what I do, here's maybe some examples of what I do, here's how to contact me. So I think last night I talked about the social media audit. It's amazing how many people that when I do this for say, yeah, you know, I went with the sort of guise of a bit of a mystery shopper really. I had to dig around, I googled you, I went on here, went on here, went on here, and you can hit a dead end really quite quickly as a potential client. So you need to make sure that your route through is as easy as it can possibly be and really, really clear for that potential person clicking on your profile. So we're now in the group. You've tidied up your profile, it looks amazing. You've got some references to what you do. You've got some calls to action where it says, go and do this, I want you to go and check this out. Would you like a freebie? All of that sort of stuff. You've tidied up your personal profile. So you go into these groups. Now, let's be clear, you've gone into this group because you believe your ideal client is in there. They're hanging out doing something which might be unrelated to what you're looking to offer or support them with, but they're just doing their thing and they're just kind of mingling around. So now you're in the house party, aren't you? You're kind of like chatting, you're starting to sort of mingle, you're starting to get a bit of a feel for what the vibe is. And people are going to start commenting. And that's why I say it needs to be a big group, because groups, they sort of create their own life the bigger they get, and you'll find that there's debates going on and there's questions being asked. And when people like being in a particular group for, let's say they like growing their own food. Don't know why I've tagged on that today, but let's say they like, growing cabbages and stuff they eat. If they feel safe and they feel that that's a really kind of comfortable place, like a sort of local coffee shop, if they like going in there and hanging out, it won't be long before there's some questions around other subjects, they creep in. It's just like when you meet friends, you end up meeting and chatting about all sorts of things. You might have met with the guys that you're going to discuss this, but then other things start cropping up as well. So that's where you can start to engage in that conversation. Or it could be that you start the conversation, that you say, you know, I first got into growing my own blah 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 as a bit of an escapism because of blah 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 blah. So that you start generating that discussion. The easiest advice I can give is go and be a human being. And it sounds so obvious, but it's frightening how many people just kind of, I don't know, it's like they're in front of their computer, they've got a keyboard in front of them, and they just forget all the rules of social engagement. And it's just like I'll go into this group and I'll just splurge my offer out everywhere. Or the other classic, which really winds me up, is I'll just go and friend request as many people as I can possibly find, and then assuming they're going to accept my friend request, I will then instantaneously invite them to my group. It's like, that surely is just rude, and you need to know that that person is potentially, I want to say on the market, but they are your ideal client. Otherwise, what is the point? You've just wasted your time and you just look silly. Somebody caught me on a bit of a rant the other day, and again they'd friend requested me, and within 24 hours they invited me to a fitness boot camp where they were going to help me lose a stone over 12 weeks or something or other. And I thought, no, it was about the 5th in a row, and I wrote and just said, I'm really sorry, but this strategy is just rude. Like, I'm a fitness instructor, I'm really happy with my body, I'm not in the market for this. You know, why did you not even ask me or engage in any level of conversation with me first? So you wouldn't do that in real life, so don't do it online is the best advice I can give you. So, strategies with groups. So go into the group, mingle. Clearly your objective is to kind of attract people towards you, but in a positive way, in a way that is genuinely looking for people that you can help. And if you come from that place, rather than I've just got to go in here and like sweep up all these people, then you give off a different vibe, don't you? So there's lots of groups that I see, what do they call them, follow trains. So somebody will post and go, I need another 50 likes on my page, or I need another blah 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 to get to this, follow for a follow. So it's just sort of inviting volume, which I'm not convinced there's any point to. I would rather keep this group at exactly this size, but know that I'm giving value and that the right people are in this group, rather than fill it full of just really randoms. You know, there's no benefit to anybody in that, because in time they'll go anyway. So be clear on what your objective is when you're going in. You're going in to give some value. Now, those are the groups that are on the periphery, okay? So they are your outside groups. Let's just read back what we said before I miss anything and go on to the core groups. You started pulling people into your Facebook group from other pages and groups in the last 2 days. Good, fabulous. Posting in other groups when my ideal client, yes. Also, you've joined a Facebook mentoring group. Brilliant, excellent. That's good. That's since we did our thing, so really good. Okay, so they're like your periphery groups. So then there's the core groups, I call them. So they are the ones where people have gone into them because they have definitely got an interest in what you're selling. Now, those are, you could argue they're almost like competitive groups, which sort of makes, I don't want to make it sound like it's going in as like a spy, because it's not that political, is it? But so for me, I'm part of other female business coaches groups, and I go and I watch with interest what they do, but I know that my ideal clients are there, but I also know that there's lots of other people doing what I do in there as well. So be mindful that when you go into a group where you know your ideal clients hanging out, that there's also people like you in there as well. So everyone's sort of got a bit of an eye on each other, and there's a sort of a segregation between those that are there to be helped and those that are there to try and find clients, being really brutal about it. So you've just got to keep that rule in your mind of being a human being. So let's say I go into another group and it's run by another business coach, and I'm probably part of 6. There's 3 that I regularly use. So you go into them and you can start to see the questions that people are asking. Now, be respectful. Always be respectful. Read the rules. There will be rules. From a good group, there will be rules around how you can engage, when you can engage, what you can do, what you can't do. So do follow them, because if you don't, then the other people seeing it that get kind of caught into that debate, you've ruined your credibility anyway, and you just look silly. So if they allow posts on certain days, then promote yourself in them, absolutely. If they allow posts on certain threads, go in, promote yourself, absolutely. But the bit where you really genuinely can add value is in the comments, it's in the discussions, it's in someone asks a question and the group owner might comment, but then so do other people. It might be that it's a thread about a question that you really absolutely know this is your bag and you're really passionate about and you absolutely know your stuff. It might be that you see something that somebody posts that you don't agree with. They answer and you go, well, no, hang on, that's not where I come from on this subject. This is my view on this. So go in and have the discussion. Show your knowledge, show your credibility and your authority on your subject. The downside of this process all the time is it takes a long time. It's time consuming, and it can be distracting, because you go in with this intention of, I'm going to go and find stuff to comment on. You know, I'm going to spend an hour and I've got to find a thread, or I'm going to find a question, I'm going to pose a question, I'm going to this, I'm going to this. And before you know it, like 2 hours is gone and you haven't found anything. So you need to be focused on what your strategy is and the purpose for which you're kind of going online. Be strict with your timings rather than just scrolling aimlessly. And what I do is have a list of the sites that I know my ideal clients are in, so that I know when I can post on them, because it is a benefit. And if you're consistently seen posting against those, then you will start to be noticed. So you list out the groups where you know your ideal client are there. Once you've done that whole go in, have a test, have a feel, check it out. You put in there in your list the days that you're allowed to promote, and whether or not it's a thread or whether you can use a hashtag or you just sort of pop it straight into the page. Know the rules and stick by the rules, so that then you know on a Wednesday you can post in that group, on a Thursday you post in that group, and know what you're going to post. Don't just splurge out the same thing every time. I'm a this and a blah, blah. I see it, it's like a copy and paste every week. Do something different. You know, I've recently developed a this. I've got a freebie on this. Would anyone be interested? So you're keeping it varied. It doesn't look spammy. The other mistake that people often make is they will create it might be a question, it might be a, would you like this for free? I've created this, anyone want this? And they post it in all of their groups on the same day within about 10 minutes. And you can see on the feed that they've done that. So you sort of think, well, there's no targeting gone on there. There's no, I know this group is particularly interested in this, therefore I'll put this suggestion in here. Dropping them into all the groups at the same time, it just looks like a bot or an automated thing. So do it, of course. If you've got something, if you've created something that you want to share, then pop it into the groups. But just have like a scrolling, it's called a carousel. So you'd pop it on in that group on Monday and then that group on Tuesday. So it's almost like you're rotating it round. Let me just read again. You've been, Deborah says, so for me, I've been in some of my, where they are for many years, because you were thinking how now you're able, yes, exactly. Yeah, so it's going back to that, I'm in the head of my ideal client. What does my ideal client want to know about? Where are they going? And absolutely, it's even easier if that was you, because not only are you going to go to the right place, but you know what to comment. So everything we covered last night around the dark place, the light place, showing them that you understand them, giving them the belief, all of that stuff is content. Now you can write pages and pages and pages of posts and then just leave the call to action out. Just drop one in every now and again to a different group, but don't put a call to action. The beauty of Facebook is that people will, with one click on your face. That's really interesting. That's really resonated with me. Who's that? Click on them. All right, they do that. Okay. It lodges. Next time they see it, oh, that's another really good post. Who was it? What did they do again? Oh, yeah. So if every time they click on you, not because you've told them to, not because you've gone, oh, please come and join my group, because you've gone in to genuinely give value. You've given, you've shared, you've been there to add something to somebody. Was it last week, 2 weeks ago? We talked about the law of compensation. You will not receive until you have given, and sitting back and accepting that and saying, I'm going to give freely of my knowledge, of my time, of my expertise, of my help. I'm going to give it while I'm topping up my pot of having given, before I then know that the earnings pot then gets topped up. But it's too easy, and it is frustrating, and that drives us to do some weird stuff sometimes, to just kind of go out and go, oh, here's all my stuff, come and join my group, and then please buy from me. But you need to go at it from a much more relaxed, trusting, patient perspective, and not get frustrated by the time it takes, because it doesn't. You've got to be consistent, you've got to show up, you've got to do your thing, and it will, I promise, it will get traction. The quicker, it will happen quicker the more focused you are. So you're talking about those pain points, you're talking about the fact that you know how these people feel right now, you know what they want, you know how happy you can make them, you know what amazing things can happen when they buy from you. When you know all that, like, not just you're hoping, like, no, 100%, you are no doubt whatsoever. When you know that and you're standing in that place, then you're posting from a place of, I'm happy for you to just take my knowledge because I know I'm helping. That's really different than please come and join my group and then please buy from me. I know so much more than I would have thanks to the groups you've joined. Yeah, exactly. You need to get into the mindset of the business owner rather than the learner. Yeah, so Tanya, I've got two sets of groups that I kind of mingle in. I've got my ideal client groups, where I believe they are, and then I've got my own learning groups as well, and I really do make that distinction in my mind. Some of them occasionally cross over. There might be the odd post in the ones where my ideal clients are that I think, yeah, I like that approach, I like that particular debate. But most of the time I keep the two separate. So almost having that list in your mind of being, yes, this is where I'm going now to do my work, or as opposed to I'm going in here to do my own learning. And again, it's that structured, it's that prioritization about where you spend your time, how you allocate your resource. And if you've got your plan, going back to the challenge, if you've created your plan, you know why you're going into it, because you're going into it with a strategy. You're not just milling around on Facebook all day, because it will sap your time. Join group join group like this. You know, you're here to learn, and I'm here to share that with you, and that's a positive interaction. Now, there could be that there's some ideal clients in here, but it's not a big enough group to necessarily have a huge field in it. But like the spotlight sessions are a good example. I'm offering people the opportunity to talk about their businesses in my group. Now, it could be that there are some ideal clients. I think Zosha got some members from here into her group, and vice versa. So it's about offering the expertise as much as you can. Business groups, success groups. Right, I'm just going to have a slurp of tea. Bear with me. Okay, another great strategy, which might make you a bit cold, because I know we've had a lot of discussion around visibility and going live and things recently, but a great strategy is to collaborate with another group. So you need to be very conscious that you are not literally side by side and competing. But if you have overlaps but you have different focuses, it's a really beautiful way to be able to use what's called a borrowed audience. So let's say, we'll go back to the gardening thing. So let's say that your expertise is in assisting people to grow their own food, because actually you're a dietitian, but you find a group where they're promoting food growth more from a gardening perspective, so a horticultural, is that the right word? Horticultural perspective, as opposed to a food perspective. So you're going to have with that group a whole heap of overlap, because people are going to join from both of those two reasons. So if you've joined, again, be a human being like you would in a outside context. If you were meeting somebody, getting that conversation going, go and be in the group, go and add value to the group, show your expertise on the link to your subject, and then when it's right, it feels right, and you're still keen, approach the person that runs the group. You should know who the person is. A good group has got a strong leader, and that would allow you then to be able to obviously identify them and make that contact. And lots of times people are wanting diverse content for their group because they want to give value to their group members. So you can make a suggestion. I've written this article recently, would it be okay for me to share it? I've done a freebie, would it be okay for me to give this to your members? I really think this would help them. Or you could be really brave and say, I'd like to come on and do a live in your group. Duh, stress. I know. I say that, I don't mean it flippantly. It is a really, really good way of getting your message out there, and being able to take a particular subject that's your expertise, taking it out into another group. So when you get to that level, when you're ready to do that and stand in that, yes, I can do this and I can do my lives, it's a brilliant strategy to use, because you are literally borrowing the audience. You're showing that you're giving to that group, so that the owner of that group gets a boost because they've got more engagement, but then you're proving your knowledge, your expertise, and pulling those people in. I think you guys are having a discussion. Okay, so we've got a couple of strategies then. First, you've got to research with focus. You need to know where your ideal clients are hanging out on the periphery of their core, and go and join those groups. You need to know where your ideal clients are hanging out for your core subject. You need to go into those groups knowing that your personal profile and everything around the journey that your person might take is up to date. It's clear. They know that what you do. So if they do want to then connect with you, they can go straight to it. So on my profile of the sort of back cover, is it called a cover? Yeah. the bit behind your sort of circle picture, the banner, is it? Yeah, the big one at the back. That at the moment I think has got the star challenge. Normally that talks about my group, so literally as soon as you click on that, there's kind of no debate as to what I want people to do. So something as simple as that, just having it as a one click on the banner, and then there's a link to the group. So making sure your house is in order. Then you go into the groups and do your thing. You mingle, you ask questions, you offer advice, you answer comments, building up to ultimately identifying the owner of that group to connect with them, because your ideal position is to be able to, with permission, promote yourself through giving value into that group. And you're going into them as exactly that, to give the value, to be an expert in what you do, not to just kind of go in and go, come on everyone, get into my group, let's go and do our thing over here and leave that one behind. Is this making sense? I'm going to see whether do I need to answer any of these questions you have in the discussion? Is there any really specific questions? Where have you joined? Because I can only see these in a string. I can't see where you've joined entrepreneurs, probably not so much where your ideal client is. Okay, but yeah, they're your learning ones. Did I say that? Groups for your specific niche. So Tanya, your first stage is your ideal client, because unless you know where they are, then it's, you know, where do you even start? It's like going out on a journey when you've got no idea what your first 3-4 steps is, let alone your destination. So unless you know who you're wanting to target your product to, in your case, then you're not going to know where they are. And I say this every time we talk about the ideal client. It does make some people nervous because they think, well, if I've got this plane of potential clients and I do this with them, then what about all these people either side? But you know what? Those people either side were never going to buy from you anyway, because it didn't hit for them. It didn't hit for anybody. It's better to make your mark and hit with a small group of people on a very deep level than it is to have a huge group, which comes back to my point about groups with 10, 15,000 people in that are set up like this one where that person's looking to sell. Well, they're not all ideal clients, I'm pretty sure. So having that narrow field of knowing exactly what your niche is and exactly who you're targeting allows you to much more easily find them. It's like a needle in a haystack otherwise, and you're going to spread yourself so thin in trying to go out and find them. The great analogy is the lifeboat versus lighthouse. If you're strong in what you do and you know how and who you want to serve, you sort of stand on that shore as the lighthouse, projecting your light, knowing that you've got the ability to save these people, to help these people, to assist them, to sell to them, to make them happy, to take them into the light position we talked about, as opposed to the lifeboat that's constantly chasing around and it's bobbing around in the ocean, getting thrown around, going and finding the people and saving them, finding them, find that client, please buy from me, find another one, please buy from me. You stand strong in your power of what you do and who you serve, much, much easier as that lighthouse on the shore. So knowing who it is you've got to, who you want to serve is your first step in everything. And sort of sticking with that for a while, because that will get you traction, and then you can change. So if it turns out that you identify a particular niche that in 6 months down the line you go, yeah, actually not enough, I need to do this, I need to do this. And it evolves as you evolve and as you learn and as your business evolves. So that absolutely happened for me. When I started, I just sort of went, right, well, these are all the things that I used to do as a manager. So I could coach people on all of that, and I could help them with this, and I could help them with promotions and getting a CV sorted out and preparing for this and doing all this stuff that I used to do as a manager. So I had this huge field. And then it was clear that was not ever going to work. So then I narrowed it to being, well, actually, the underlying to all of that when people are trying to progress their career is confidence. So I'll niche down to confidence for women. And that was still massively broad because there was too much diversity between the people who struggle with confidence on like a daily basis versus the people who are looking to maybe aggressively progress their career. So again, that was too big. So niching is absolutely the secret, because you can then pinpoint them so deeply. You can talk about all those pain points. You can talk about the dark, the light, how they can develop themselves in a huge amount of detail. So I feel as though we've gone a little bit round and round and round, but at the core, again, I'll say it again, at the core of any marketing, it doesn't matter whether you're using social media, you're doing leaflets, you're doing public speaking, whatever it is you're doing to take your message and whichever social media platform you're going to use, you need to know who that message is attempting to reach. Because if you know who you're attempting to reach, you know where you can start to go and find them. But that's the tricky part. You're going to have to work it out. So if you think about advertising on the TV, I don't watch masses of TV at all, so I'm not necessarily target market for anybody. But you think about the way that advertisers would promote something during a football match. They're targeting a very different demographic probably than the people who they advertise to in the middle of like a Tuesday afternoon soap. They're not going to spend on the advert for the thing they want to sell during the middle of a rugby match as they would to the middle of the afternoon kind of soap opera. And it's the same thing. They know who they're looking to target, and therefore they know where they are. They know that the sports fans are going to want to buy, well, the ones I've seen, it seems to be cars and betting and a bit of DIY maybe. But actually the people who are sat watching TV in the middle of the afternoon, they seem to be getting the life insurance adverts. Again, it's a long time since I've watched telly, but do you know what I mean? It's the same principle. That's marketing the world over. Know who you're trying to reach and then go to where they are. Don't sort of stand and shout really loud and hope that they're going to hear you. You need to go and find them. And the Facebook groups and Facebook generally has given us that platform to be able to do that, because people congregate in all those little pockets. You just got to go and be there. Any questions? Anything else that people want to discuss around Facebook and using it, how groups might work, how groups don't work? Anyone had huge successes and want to share some real positives on how it's worked? The only other one I'll talk about, because it's just hit while I've had a little slurp and I think, is your hooks. Now, hooks can be really powerful, particularly used in the right way. And I had one, I can't even remember when it was. It might have been 2 or 3 months ago. I'd done a live. I think I'd done the masterclass, and it was great. People got a huge amount from it, and I'd created it, we'd already done it. It was there as a recording, and I thought I could share this. Like, I've done it. It's going to be a freebie. There's no cost to me. This is what people are wanting to hear, and that was the masterclass on the organic advertising. So, how to use the social medias to be able to attract your clients. So I posted that I'd done this thing in a group. It was like the short posts that keep the big bold text and you can put a funky background behind it. It was one of those. So I just put, I've done a masterclass on how to attract clients with no marketing budget. Anyone want a copy? And it went mental, absolutely mad, to the point of one of the, so I did it for a couple of days in this one group, and I thought, wow, that went really well. I'm going to put it in another group as well. But at one point, the administrator of this other group kind of pulled it because it was getting so much discussion. Having a hook of some nature like that, where you know that your ideal client is already there, so you've already checked it out and you've kind of done your thing. Giving them something, or offering them something you know they want or need, can work amazingly well. But you have to do it in a fairly subtle way. So I'd said, just say yes please, or comment if you'd like a copy. And people did, and then I did this all manually. So I then replied and sent them the links that they needed to be able to see it. But the link was for the group because the video was hosted in the group. So with hindsight, I should have created some automation behind that because it was mental, and I ended up getting banned from sending messages for a couple of days from Facebook because I'd sent so many in such a short time. However, doing it, you never know when something like that is going to hit. I couldn't have predicted that it would have gone so well, but I think the group grew. It doubled in size over this 24-hour period after I did it. So something like that, having a hook, having a reason why somebody would want to come and check out what you do is really, really powerful. And using it in a measured way. So I would never suggest you got to keep going every week and having a new freebie and create this and then create that. And just every now and again, just as a little boost to, again, just prove that you've got value to give to people. Should I have a landing page for my Facebook group separate to my business page? A landing page. Do you mean like are you talking about a funnel now, Deborah? Because a landing page, as I describe them, they are a separately hosted domain normally where people go as like the first stage in a funnel. So when people talk about a funnel, they're meaning the traditional funnel shape, and they are a site or a domain where people drop into the top, and then the idea of a funnel is that you drop people through them and getting them closer and closer to you so that in the end they're buying from you. So with hindsight, with that post I talked about, what I should have done is said, if anyone wants it, here's a link, and created a pretty rudimentary landing page, which then captured their email address for me and put them on my list, which would have been automated. And then as soon as I've got their email address, fired off an automation behind the scenes that said, here you go, it's coming to you now. I've built that now, and I actually use that for an advert. So my advert says, would you like to have this freebie? When they click on the link, it goes into a funnel. They give me their email address. The funnel then automatically, or the automation behind the funnel automatically fires off the freebie that they've asked for, and I've captured them in my list. I will then email them again and say, thanks ever so much, hope you found it useful. By the way, here's my Facebook group, would you like to join? But that probably feels a bit scary in terms of attempting to tackle that on your own. So there's no necessity to do it. I did it for like 250 people with no funnel whatsoever. So should I have? No. And given the debate we had last night, Deborah, about feeling overwhelmed and where do you, the night before, about your priorities, no, you shouldn't, because if you're not confident to do it, it's just another thing you're gonna take on and try and struggle with, to be honest. So I would say you need a strategy for sure. You're better off spending your time creating what could be your hook rather than worrying about the automation. You can worry about the automation further down the line, and if you need to when you get to that point, but spend the time just really genuinely thinking about what is it your ideal client might need. What can I give that is going to help them, that's going to ease their pain, that's going to show that I know what I'm talking about? How is it I can help these people? Create something really quickly. A freebie should take you no more than an hour, one pager, quick kind of list, a reference guide, whatever it is, so that you have that thing to offer. So I had a freebie for a while that looked like that. That was around the different systems to use for marketing, sales and service, and there's all the names of the different systems that I use. That was my freebie for ages. And again, a quick collation of that, make it look pretty, done. And that can sit then as an automated thing. You can have a page on Facebook and then put a button for visit your group. I already have this on my business. Yeah, absolutely that. You can have, so your business page should have a button into your group if that's what you're looking to create in terms of your call to action. And that's really easy. So it's just one of the selected like admin functions on a business page. Absolutely, you should always have a button for your group on your page, minimum standard, yeah. You've already got this on your business page. Should I do a separate page on Facebook with visit group on that page for my group? No, so you only need one. I'm going to read that again. You can have a page on Facebook and put a button to visit your group. So you've got that on your business page. So should I do a separate page on Facebook with a visit group button on that page for your group? So it's that route. There's duplication in what you've asked there. I think you're talking about the same thing. Okay, right, fine. Yeah, so let's talk about the difference between, what time is it? Is everyone still all right? I think you're still with me. Let's talk about the difference between groups and pages really, really quickly. A page is your shop window. It's what people would see if they were all in the physical world and they were walking past. It is your shop front. It's where you talk about what you do. It's where you talk about how you do your thing, what you offer to the world, and it's a fairly sort of businessy feel to it. It probably says how they can contact you, gives you little, you might have your freebie on there, it might have some testimonials. It just tells people what you do, what you sell. A group is a community. So a group is like a coffee shop. So if you think of the Central Perk, the outside, I'm from Friends, stay with it. From the outside, your business page is what we saw. And do you remember you always used to see the really badly lit external, supposedly external view of the Central Perk? That's your business page. It's the picture, you've got the menu on the front. You can sort of you can gauge what it is this person does, this business does from the business page. But there's a door or a button that says, and if this interests you, come on into the group. Once you step in through the door, you're into a Facebook group, which is the inside bit. That's where the sofas are and it's all comfy and people hang out in there because they like being there. Why do you come here? Why do you come here and watch this stuff? It's giving you something. It's useful. It's valuable. So a group is effectively building your own community and your own family around what you do and giving you that platform to share what you do, what your expertise is, and help people. So business page, more like the sort of formalities of it. Group, your stage, your lounge, your house, your space, you control it, but you do what you do in your group. So that's the difference. And having likes on your business page is pretty academic, to be honest. I occasionally will make sure that I've sort of refreshed and people will see my business page. I'll post, there's scheduled posts that go onto my business page to keep it refreshed, but all the time I'm looking to drive traffic off my page into my group, because that's where I'm gonna hang out, and ultimately that's why I want to help people, is through the group, not with them just on the page. Does that make sense? Does that help? But I think you've got it. You don't need any extras. Don't confuse yourself or anybody else. So remember, it's got to be a clear route through. I click on your profile. It says, oh, you've got this business. So I might click on your business page into group. Your group should always be, it's like dropping them down that funnel. The group should be the ultimate goal for you. Any other questions? Any other queries? Has that helped? Has that given you a little bit more to go on? I do sound like a stuck record when it comes to the ideal client stuff. I know that, but honestly, if you get that right, it just feels so much easier. It feels so totally different when you're looking to do those connections, regardless of what platform you're turning up on. So doing that foundation work first is absolutely critical to everything you'll do. Okay, no more comments. I'm gonna go. Haven't the kids been good? I've had no kid or dog interruptions today, which is a bit of a Billy bonus. So I'll be live later at some point to do day 5. No worries, Tanya. Day 5, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, day 5 of the Get Visible. So we're talking about each day a little bit more detail around going live and getting used to doing your videos and stuff. So today's is about developing the ideas. So at some point this afternoon I'll do that. So go and have a great time. Go and have a great day. And I will see you really, really soon. Thanks for locked in. Bye.